All right. I believe we are live on YouTube. I think I see a couple of guests from last week, so thank you for joining us again. Um, so, just to go through the whole spiel again, today you are watching Talent Talk. I'm your host, Gary McLean. So, today's episode, I'd like to bring on a guest who's a fitness trainer, bodybuilder. He's delved into the cosplay side of things. He runs his own personal training company, Ever Fit Strategies. And he's the kind of guy who likes to keep busy and has delved into the acting side of things. Please join me in welcoming Simon Creasey.
Hello, everybody.
Simon, thanks for joining us.
Thanks
Uh,
for having me.
yeah, and apologies for what we endured last week. And I do request that the folks that are watching, if you are not hearing us again, let us know for sure. I think we've got it all fixed though. Um, so again, as of kind of started off last week, if you don't mind kind of starting off with the whole fitness side of things, how that started. Is it something you've always been into, or is it something that's developed recently?
Well, with the actual fitness part of things, not necessarily something I had always been into. I I always I grew up in the '80s, idolized people like Jean-Claude Van Damme and Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger. So those physiques were, something that I looked up to and definitely would have loved to have and dreamed of having and stuff. But definitely wasn't into fitness. I was more into comic books and video games and stuff growing up. But then after high school, I had put on some weight toward the end of high school, and although I grew up around gyms with my martial arts and everything, there were always weights and stuff. And I had an uncle who was a trainer, a personal trainer, as well as a sensei in martial arts. But I didn't get the interest until after putting on some weight and things like that in high school, and then I started working out, and and it was after really being dedicated to it and things like that. Friends and family noticed what changes were happening, and then so I started imparting what wisdom I did have onto them and saw how it influenced them, and I um, really kind of got a lot out of that, a lot of fulfillment out of having that sort of influence on people. So that's what got me into personal training and got me down that path roughly 19 years ago or so.
Okay, and were you much into other sports like hockey, football, any of that kind of thing, or?
Uh, it's odd actually. Funny you mentioned that because with my peers in the fitness industry, they're all into sports and they all stand around. They're in football pools, hockey pools, and they stand around talk about that stuff. And I love joining their conversations and being like, "Oh, you talking about that foosball game last night?" Because truthfully, I don't follow sports. I'm not into sports. I played sports and I love playing sports. I'm athletic. I enjoy playing them, but I've never gotten anything out of watching them or anything like that. So growing up, my parents wanted us to try lots of things. They got me into music. You know, uh, I played the drums. They got me into all different sports, martial arts, everything. So I played a few years of outdoor soccer, about a year of indoor soccer. I played high school football in grade 10 and 12. I just didn't feel like it in grade 11, apparently. And But The big thing for me was baseball. I played 9 years of baseball,
Nice.
and I made the extended season all-star team pretty much every summer. So my parents had to endure another month and a half of taking me to baseball games on top of the regular season. So that was awesome for them, I'm sure. I didn't think anything of it, when I was a kid, but now that I'm a parent, I'm like, oh man, my parents really they really stuck it out for me and brought me to all those things. I don't know if I could handle all that.
That's fair enough. Um, so when it comes to the tournaments, which I'm just going to bring up a little photo for the viewers here. Yeah, you'd sent me a couple of photos from tournaments you were doing, and I'm just wondering when the tournaments began in your whole transition here, and um, yeah, like
Well,
what your thoughts are on it, and how like is it something that's a big part of your life now, or
it kind of is, yeah, definitely. Basically, what like I never imagined myself going on stage in my pretty much my wife's underwear. It's so small, and posing in front of people or anything like that. Um, I never imagined, necessarily being a bodybuilder. It seems even weird to say, but I guess what happened for me, there were two catalysts for it. I suppose was I got, obviously I got into fitness and started training in that. I did a mixed martial arts fight years ago that I wound up. I won the fight. I didn't enjoy it, but it rekindled my interest in fitness training and the different aspects of it, going out of the standard weightlifting and into more endurance type stuff. And so then that got me really lean. And then I was like kind of sick of being lean and little. So I started getting back into the weightlifting stuff. And then all the while, I never trained in gyms. I trained in my basement. But then I met a friend an old friend from high school, actually, who approached me about getting working with him to get him fit, and then he brought me into a gym that was kind of there were a lot of bodybuilders in there, and talking to them and stuff, they kind of encouraged me to do it a little bit, and they, kind of sounds weird to say, but comparing my physique to theirs, I was like, I'm kind of on par here with a little extra training and coaching and stuff. I'm sure I could, kind of compete in this kind of stuff, and I had a friend of mine ask me kind of like, why I train and what my end goal is and stuff like that. And because he was mentioning that a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to get married, I'm going on a cruise, it's summer, they have a training phase, a period, and he's like, but you're the one guy that I know that's like over 20 years has just always been training. You don't go through this crazy up and down, like add 30 pounds, take off 20 pounds type thing. And I said, it's just because I love training. I grew to love training. And but then it was that kind of got me questioning things. And then my oldest brother had kind of egged me on a little bit and told me to maybe see where I could go with that kind of stuff. And we had a conversation where he kind of told me, just if you don't take chances, if you don't explore, you're never going to see what your potential is. And then 3 years ago he passed away, and so I kind of made that decision to honor that kind of that message that he had given me shortly beforehand. And so a year later, I competed in my first competition and I came in first place. So that turned it into something that I did again. And so now I've competed 4 times. I really enjoyed the atmosphere in backstage in those competitions, and the support just all around from everybody involved. And I've been pretty successful. I've come in first place in 2 of the competitions, first place like overall for the category and weight class and stuff. I came in second place last year in nationals, so for across Canada, and then I did have one where I came in first place in my weight class, but I was the only person in my weight class. So I don't know. I can you can look at that 2 ways. I came in first and last, really.
yeah, right, yeah. Uh, but winning first time out, like that must have been quite the feeling. What
Yeah,
what
yeah.
kind of preparation did you have to do leading up to that?
Um, well, actually, I worked with a guy a trainer that I met at the gym that I was talking about. And I just, we clicked. I thought his methods and approach were great. I thought his knowledge was just, great. And we saw eye to eye with training and things like that. And I knew that I could learn from him. And so I hired a coach. We worked together, and so there was a lot of, well, I shouldn't even say a lot of change that had to happen. Just it was a learning curve for me because I had never been the type to weigh my food or track my meals or anything like that. And so that was the big kind of change that was introduced to me, and a few other training methods and things that I've actually implemented into my own personal training of my clients. But I think the biggest factor was the nutrition side of it, and actually tracking food and stuff like that. And then the different, the bulking phase and cutting phase of bodybuilding.
Okay. Um, and from start to finish, when you start prepping for a tournament to the time that actually ends, like what's the kind of time frame in there? Like, is this a month long process, couple months?
It. I don't. For me, it's much different than a lot of people. Again, this kind of comes back to my friend commenting that I don't do this up and down thing where I'll go a month of just, or 2 months of not really working out and eating like crap. Like I work out all the time. Like I just, I would rather sit on an exercise bike for an hour to watch something on Netflix than I would sit on a couch for an hour and watch something on Netflix. So the most amount of TV watching I do is while I do cardio,
Right.
and stuff like that. So for me, truthfully, prep for a competition would be like uh, maybe a 6 week process of cutting, because I'm always trying to get a little bigger, a little stronger. I'm always working out with that goal and kind of eating with that goal, but also keeping myself fairly lean, So I would say, I mean, 6 weeks is that's maybe generous to myself. I could say more like 10 weeks to get like really stage ready and lean for stage, because it's just more a matter of tweaking my diet. And then in the last 2 weeks or so, really tweaking my training style and everything like that. Other than that, it's mainly kind of, I always train through phases of strength training, size building, endurance, strength training, size building, endurance, and I just keep going through them all the time. So
Okay. So there's no real extra prep for you. Just
not a huge amount, not a huge amount. It's more leaning out. Typically, though, for people from from what I understand from a lot of people, it's a 16-week process or something like that.
okay. I would like to delve into a little bit of Everfit strategies. In fact, I'm just going to play your little Everfit intro here for folks.
Cheers.
Okay. So when did Everfit start? I mean, I'm assuming it probably almost began when you first started and you started showing family members in a way, but
Somewhat,
officially.
actually, kind of. Actually, the whole fitness training journey and path has been chopped up a bit, because when I got into training, when I got into training myself and taking my own training quite seriously and actually like learning more about fitness and stuff, it was 19, 20 years old. And so then I started the schooling at around 21. But I also had a, uh, a lawn maintenance company. that was just starting out, and a relationship where we were going to start a family. And so things got a little too busy for me, and I had my first kid, and I wound up not completing my fitness training education through Mount Royal, and I just kept going with the lawn maintenance stuff. And it wasn't until I did my MMA fight when I was 27 like I had kind of mentioned, it sparked my interest in fitness training again, and the different modalities and different methods and things like that. So I That's kind of when I got back into it. But Everfit and the whole concept of Everfit strategies and what I wanted to do with Everfit strategies developed probably about 10 years ago. And when I had kind of reconnected with some other people that were in the fitness industry, and then I started really kind of exploring the idea of getting back into fitness and that kind of stuff, and realizing that you know people were looking for ways of staying fit and healthy, without necessarily spending hours in the gym and never eating the foods that they liked and things like that. So I was really developing workouts that could be done in 30 minutes that were very effective, and eating strategies, ways to change your what I always called change your relationship with food, um, uh, from being a uh, please your taste buds thing first, and then nutritional aspect kind of second or third or last, to thinking about the nutrition first and the taste buds after. It's got to taste good, don't get me wrong, but the core base around building a meal should be the nutrition aspect, right? And that was the big shift that have helped me go from a guy who, yeah, he keeps himself kind of fit, I suppose, to a guy who well, clearly, oh, that guy clearly doesn't eat what he likes and clearly works out all the time, hours and hours and hours. And that wasn't the case. It is kind of now. Well, the working out all the time is the case now, I suppose, but that's more because of bodybuilding, right?
Right.
But you don't have to do that to be fit and active and able-bodied. By any means, you don't need an hour and a half in the gym 4 days a week or anything like that.
Okay. Um, a little bit of a transition here, but you do cosplay.
Yes.
Um, have you found that what you've done with the fitness side of things has helped you with your cosplay and some of the character choices that you do?
Yes, definitely, it is a big influence on the character choices. I gotta say, without, I don't want to sound like pompous or anything, but like I work hard for the physique that I have, and truthfully, the physique that I have didn't come from idolizing athletes and things like that. It came from idolizing Superman and Batman and like Wolverine and stuff like that. So my very first cosplay was Wolverine, and definitely it helped my physique. Helped that cosplay a lot, because my first cosplay, like, it really wasn't much. All I did was grow my hair out, grow my beard out, and then shave it like Wolverine and style the hair like Wolverine. I put a tank top on and I made some claws and I put a cigar in my mouth, and people were convinced. People were like, dude looks like Wolverine.
Nice.
And I think the physique helped for sure. And there's no question that there are some awesome cosplays and builds that I would love to do and love to attempt, but I'm also like, but that doesn't show my biceps. So I'm like, can we alter this to have at least one arm showing? Just joking. No, but honestly, it's definitely um, I do gravitate toward this superhero cosplay or villain or whatever, anti-hero cosplay, and a lot of that is because of the physique and idolizing them, and that's why I built my physique. I wanted to look like the Punisher or something.
Right.
Just realized I'm wearing that shirt too. I wanted to look like that, more like that than I wanted to look like, you know, uh, the skinny accountant.
Right.
Not
Yeah.
that there's anything wrong with accountants or being skinny. Like,
Oh no, fair enough. I'm just gonna pop up a couple of your cosplay images here. So the first one is actually a black and white with you and a samurai sword. Um,
yes.
just if you can give a little detail on where that came from, and
Well, now that was actually just
just
shortly
like a photo
after I
shoot.
had uh gotten a little more um into the fitness stuff and everything more regularly, and I decided, I don't know, maybe I'll fall off the wagon, maybe I won't have this physique again, so I should book a photo shoot. And because of my martial arts background and ninjutsu being the martial art, we learned a lot about the samurai and trained with swords, and so I had the sword and I brought it to the photo shoot, and I was like, let's do something like this, because at that time I didn't have any actual costumes built or anything. I hadn't made a costume, and that was kind of the start, as well, to me wanting to start building cosplay and costumes and stuff was, um, doing that photo shoot. I was like, I'd love to do like a cosplay type photo shoot and things like that, and yeah, so that's kind of where that came from, was just actually just me bringing that sword to a photo shoot.
Okay, that's fair enough. I'm just gonna bring up a second one here. So this one I think is a bit more. It's your crossplay here. So you've got the Wolverine blades, you've got um, the, the cyber helmet.
Oh, yes, okay, so
Yes,
that is Weapon X.
there we go.
Yes, yeah, that. So that's the version of Wolverine from the comic books, where he's basically being tested on and everything, and gets his adamantium and all that kind of stuff. And so I oddly enough, that cosplay, uh, I was that was my first real cosplay build. Like I said, the first time I cosplayed as Wolverine, there wasn't much to it. I made some claws. That's all I built. But that cosplay where I did Weapon X, I built everything from like random stuff. Other than the helmet, I went to a sports used goods place, and I bought an old hockey helmet, and then I just started plastering stuff to that, painting it. There's a lot of recycling involved in that cosplay, milk cartons even, and even the packaging for like the random materials that I used on the helmet. I took the packaging and used them on the cyber boxes and stuff that I have hanging off me in that cosplay. But yeah, that cosplay is it's very dear to me, because that was my first build, and I was in the middle of that build, just wrapping it up actually, when I uh, when I found out about my brother's death. And it was something that I was really excited to show him. And just 2 days before, I had been working on it, and took some photos, and I was going to send him the photos through text. And I don't know, I must have just gotten busy, and I didn't send him the photos, and I didn't reach out to him or text him or anything or contact him. And then, it was 2 days later that I was in the middle of building the costume, and I got a message from his then girlfriend, and so that's how, without getting into too much detail there, that's how that kind of panned out. So that cosplay I kind of struggled to finish, because that was literally a week before the Comic Expo in Calgary. And so I had already bought the tickets and everything, and I was like, really, I obviously I was probably not going to bother finishing it. I didn't feel like finishing it, and I didn't feel like going to the expo. But but at the same time, I needed to honor that, you know. And it was him that got me into comic books, and him that nurtured that and nurtured my artistic side and all that kind of stuff. He always encouraged me, and so that's yeah, that cosplay is dear to me because of that, and I followed through with it, and I'm thankful that I did because I made some connections through that where down the road I wound up meeting you.
Right? Yeah, yeah. That Fantasy Warriors.
Yes,
Um, well, sorry to hear about your brother for one thing. How long ago was that, if you don't mind me asking?
3 years ago now.
3.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not gonna ask any details.
No worries, man.
um, I'm just gonna bring up the third costume here, cosplay, which is you in a tunnel, holding a teddy bear, cage, I think,
Yeah, cable,
or
cable.
cable. What am I thinking?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that cosplay I'm pretty proud of. Because like I didn't again, I've never necessarily had any sort of education or anyone show me. Most cosplayers haven't. Most cosplayers just kind of wing it and learn about this stuff as they go, right? And so again, I built that whole mechanical arm thing out of just random parts and getting the ideas from talking to other cosplayers at conventions and seeing their costumes and asking them how they built it and things like that. So I never really, you know, utilized YouTube before. I started to now, where you can find any video on how to build anything. You can get templates for things, all sorts of stuff from YouTube. But yeah, before that, it was just talking to the cosplayers and stuff. And so that's where I got the idea for using foam on it. And then I had all this extra stuff in my garage because I have a lawn maintenance company. So I started using all my extra wires and things like that and just pieced it all together and just randomly started gathering different things for the rest of the costume, and it came together really well, and was received really well by people at conventions. They thought it was great, and really, now I'm just like, how do I top it? I gotta build another really cool costume.
Yeah, I kind of wish I brought a couple of from the last comic expo we did in Calgary. You had a couple good ones there.
Yeah.
Um, what came first, the cosplay or the fitness?
Well, I guess that's actually a good question. I suppose the cosplay truthfully came first. If you look back to my childhood, I just didn't build the costumes. But when you look back to my childhood and Halloween, we didn't buy our costumes. We didn't go. I mean, I guess back in the day there weren't a whole lot of store bought costumes. Most costumes were made, but ours were um, quite I don't know. I'm struggling to find the word, but adventurous, I suppose. They like I was Gumby once, big full foam. Do you know Gumby, the
Oh yeah,
character Gumby? Yeah, big full
absolutely.
foam costume. And now picture this: do you remember Saturday Night Live and Eddie Murphy's version of Gumby? And he'd walk into a room and be like, "I'm Gumby, damn it."
Yeah, right.
Okay, so I watched Saturday Night Live probably at too young an age, and I was probably in grade, I don't know. I think my Gumby cosplay was grade 2 or 3, and I was walking up to houses being like, "I'm Gumby, damn it!"
That'd be awesome.
So yeah, there was that. I was a complete cell phone one year. Won some awards for that. I was a centaur, so a big paper mache horse's ass on the back of me. I was a Ninja Turtle, a California Raisin, full on foam California Raisin costume.
Nice.
So yeah, like it was that. And actually, my very first Wolverine was, I think I was 14 or 15 was my first Wolverine cosplay. Oh man, I wish so bad I had an image of that. Like I'm talking what are they like knitting needles through gloves?
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Sweet.
Hey.
Yellow spandex was priceless. I didn't quite have the physique either, so
Right. Well, you're Wolverine Junior.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's
So I
awesome.
suppose, yeah, the cosplay, the influence to cosplay and everything came at a young age, but actually officially getting into fitness and stuff came before getting into the cosplay, and definitely kind of touching back with that question that you asked, the physique. And attaining the physique that I always kind of grew up wanting to look like a superhero, that helped kind of give me the confidence to do the cosplay thing because as I've mentioned to you, a little bit of stage fright and stuff on my part. I'm a little bit uh, like I don't necessarily like being the center of attention, which is weird for a guy again who stood on stage in his underwear. Like, look at me, I'm the only person here.
Right. Yeah.
but but again, that's kind of why I got into drama in high school, why I got into acting classes later in life, was to help conquer that kind of that fear. It's why I did rock climbing. I'm afraid of heights. I'm only 5.5 feet tall. I don't do well with high things. So I like to challenge my fears and conquer them, if you will.
Right. Well, thanks for that transition into the acting portion of it. So I appreciate that. Um, that's something you've delved into a little bit. I know you've done a little bit of acting, background acting on like Heartland, things like that.
Yes.
Um, and you were also in another show called Sex, Lies, and Murder, I believe, a couple
Yes.
times on that one.
Yes.
Is the acting side something you want to get into more? Um,
Yeah, actually, it is. I guess, you know, it's something that I struggled with. Back in high school, I decided to go into drama because I was like, yeah, I think I could do acting. It seems fun and everything. I'd love to learn about that. And, and then I guess pardon me. I honestly I dismissed it as a stupid thing to try to do or get into because I was, not that significant. I'm in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. What's the point? And so I just kind of put that way in the back of my mind. And then later, after getting more fit and doing my MMA fight and things like that, I was like, maybe I'll try the acting thing out. And so that's what got me back into it, and trying it. And then again, I kind of started thinking, this is stupid. I'm doing too many things. This is. I got discouraged, I guess. But you know, again, I got that, that steam, that desire to just put myself out there and do it. And as I kind of mentioned to you when you had approached me about doing the interview, just like the day or 2 days before you approached me, I was thinking about approaching you to see what kind of projects you might have going on that I might be able to help out in any way. I don't even care if I'm a dead body in some scene that you're filming for something. I don't care, right? So I was just wanting to do that, and since then I've had a couple other people approach me about some other opportunities. So I'm kind of excited to see where that could go, and I would absolutely love to do more of the acting and everything because again, that's something I want to get more comfortable with. Talking about that sex, lies, and murder, there were a couple scenes that I was in. One, no talking, and I was wearing a mask. I actually was playing in a home invasion and had to stab someone in a shower, so that was interesting. Yeah,
Little psycho.
came home covered in blood and and told my wife not to worry because I was paid to kill the person. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but the other scene, I had some lines that I didn't know I had until the day of. I got the script and didn't notice the line. Like I read through the script, I don't know what the heck happened in my mind where I did not see the lines that were like my character's lines, but I didn't see them. Like I glanced over the script and I was like, I guess I don't have any lines, so I don't have to read this too carefully. They'll just direct me into what to do. So then I got there that morning. They're like, yeah, you're totally in, you're like playing an insurance adjuster talking to this lady. And so like I got the lines 5 minutes before going in to like shoot. And so I'm just like, and I could not spit it out that in any way that did not sound like a robot reading it. I was just like, oh, this is horrible. And never got called back to that show, by the
Oh no.
way. So that kind of sucked.
Ah, well, it's all part of the curve, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, I know I've had my fair share of mishaps and bad acting sessions. So yeah, I'm familiar with that. Um,
You got to have them right in order to learn and get the confidence to do better. Obviously, like it's what I've learned from everything else I've done in life. So,
right, yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to the acting side, like for example, I know when you do the cosplay, you can get into your character pretty good. So do you feel that would be a fairly easy transition now? To
it that's where I feel a bit of the struggle, and like I feel it all the time when I was in class and things. I felt it a lot was the struggle of being able to just get into character as me, like because I guess I'm not as me. I'm playing a character, but when I'm doing the cosplay, I'm often under enough of a disguise that it gives me a little more confidence. In fact, I noticed that because at Scream Fest and things like that, I did different characters that were more. I had a mask on at the last one we did, um, where I really got into character and got in trouble apparently because I was scaring people too much and wasn't on the high scare side of the event. So
yes, I remember that.
so I got in trouble a couple of times because I got really into character, but I had the mask on and that gave me that confidence to do it, right? I feel without the mask, then it's like it's me, you're seeing me trying to be this character, and maybe I'm not fooling you, and so now I'm just me being an idiot. And so all
Right,
these things go through my head. So I'm hoping that again, playing characters and watching it then and seeing how I could do it better and improving will give me that confidence that when I'm in character, people aren't seeing me, Simon, they're seeing that character.
right. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Um, let's talk a little bit about some of the other background stuff you've done, because Heartland was one. Can you? There was a couple others I think you mentioned to me, but I'm not remembering what they were at this point.
Uh, well, no, I had done Heartland a few times, and I'd been just like kind of in background work, and then I had eventually gotten I was a what do they call a photo double for
Okay,
somebody,
Sandy.
and
Yeah.
then I did a then I did a driving scene as well, and can't remember. Oh yes, that's right. That's right. No, I can't remember some of the things that I've done. There was a movie called El Chicano,
Right.
and I was in a scene there, and that one I was a little disappointed about because I um I was going to be a uniformed cop, and I was like, hey, cool. I've like never really gotten like costume like that on set and been a uniform cop. That's really neat. And then I got all the way to like wardrobe, and then they were putting the uniform cops in short sleeve shirts. And because of my tattoo, they didn't want to have me because I didn't have a release from my tattoo artist saying that his artwork could be used in this, blah blah blah. Because apparently, when you have these tattoos and everything, that's what they need for those types of productions. Is they need a
Hmm.
release from your tattoo agent or
I
tattoo artist.
had no idea.
Exactly, I didn't either. Oddly enough, though, and I hadn't talked to this guy for a couple years. I had gotten that permission within about 10 or 15 minutes. But that business. Missed my window. Missed my
Yeah.
window. Someone else was in my uniform. And the worst part about it, when we all got onto like set, all the cops were in long sleeve shirts.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I was like,
quite,
what
yeah.
the?
I understand the disappointment. Yeah.
I'm like, what the heck? But in the end, I actually, I don't know. I've never seen the movie or anything, to be honest. I would love to see the movie to see if I show up on camera at all, and to see the movie. Kind of seemed like it would be a pretty entertaining flick,
Yeah, yeah.
But I never did see the movie or anything. But I'd love to see if I showed up on camera, because I feel like the uniform cops were all more on the outskirts of the scenes, whereas I was like right like near the front of like a bunch of like out of uniform cops. So if you're an out of uniform cop, obviously you're more important.
Yes, right, absolutely. The uniformed are just keeping the people at bay, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
non-uniform that are in the guts of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. We're kind of hitting the tail end here. I do kind of want to open it up if anybody who's watching might have some questions, to shoot them off and message on YouTube here, and I'll pass on the message. In the meantime, though, uh, just for something different that we haven't actually done yet, I figured we'd play a little game with with Simon here, and we do a little kind of charade scenario, and pick a few, maybe two or three different phrases or words, and try to charade them to each other so we can maybe try and figure it out what the other person's trying to do. So since you're the guest and everything else, I'll let you go first.
I had a feeling you would. Okay.
So of course you can't use any words. It's all about the action. Um, and when you're ready, you'll have like 30 seconds to kind of portray what you're trying to get across.
Okay, I'm uh just putting it in to generate some. Okay, now I'm looking at some different phrases here. Uh, okay. Um, okay, I got some phrases here I can probably do. No words. Can I make sounds of any
You,
sort,
you can
or?
make sounds, just as long as they're not actual words. That's fine. If you want to do grunting or animal noises or car sounds, whatever, you go
Yeah,
for
yeah.
it.
Okay, okay.
But
Cool.
yeah, just no words. Just
Okay.
let me know when you're ready to go, and just the first phrase for now, and then we'll switch over to mine. And I'll give you one as well. So let me know when you're ready.
Okay, I'm good.
All right, go. Sleeping.
Ring, ring, ring.
Uh, Alarm. Oh wow, I'm worse at this than I thought. um,
Ring, ring, ring.
car alarm. Sleeping alarm. Early rise.
I can't think of anything else to do, man.
um,
uh,
Suddenly awakened. Close. Um,
ring, ring, ring.
Jolted awake. Uh, oh, we're done. All right.
Can I tell you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Wake up call.
Oh, jeez. That was bad for my part. Yeah. All right. I'll see if I can get this one for you.
Okay.
All right. You ready?
Yep.
Hopefully, everybody can see me in the camera here. All right.
Horsing around.
Close. Yeah, my sound effect wasn't that great.
uh, uh, elephant. um, Oh, gosh, what can I
Um,
give
oh,
it?
well, we're out of time already. Man,
Oh
that time
no,
flies. Jeez.
no kidding.
Elephant in the room.
Oh my God, come on. When you hear it, it's like, how did I not guess that? um, all right, you got I got another one, right? All right.
Oh, actually, I do. Before we head on to the next one, we can try one after. I do have a question from one of our viewers here.
Sure.
Um, do you have an ideal genre you would like to act in?
Um, uh, no, well, I mean, yes, yes. Actually, I'd be open to try pretty much anything, to be honest. But my ideal genre would, again, because of the fitness aspect, the martial arts, and everything, I would love to break into some sort of action genre, anything like that. Love, like, it would be amazing to play a comic book character of some sort in anything. But comedy would be great too, like watching those kind of movies, the types of things where people kind of play more realistic, down to earth kind of characters, like the Seth Rogen type films. Those types of films, I think I could you know have a comedic air about me in, and stuff like that. So, but
Okay.
definitely the action genre would be my go-to.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I do have another question that popped up, and this is from JRC Stargazer. Um, and sorry, the previous one was also from Terrell Sykes, just so you know. So JRC Stargazer asks, does Simon do costumes for other folks?
I've built a costume for my son, a transforming bumblebee costume. Actually, that's one where I actually went to YouTube for the instructions and followed those. But again, me being me, did some things a little bit differently in my costume and learned some things where now I want to make another one that would be much better. But other than that, no, I don't. I've never done any costume builds for other people, just my kids.
Okay, is it something you would entertain, or
Um, Not necessarily, because honestly, my wife would kill me. I already do way too much, and I'm spread out way too much. If I added building costumes for other people to that list, no, no.
right?
I may
Yeah, fair
add
enough.
I may add single father to the list. She's stood with me through a lot.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. Um, okay, that's all the questions we have right now. But if you guys have any others, please feel free to throw them forward. We're gonna do a couple more fun little phrases here in the meantime. And yeah, I see JRC Stargazer was also trying to guess what we were doing. So that's good. I'm
Nice,
glad you guys are. So let's give
nice.
this a shot and um, see what we can get out of here. So you let me know when you're ready for your next one.
All right, I'm good to go.
All right, and go. Uh,
Hmm. Uh,
I was gonna say eyes wide shut, but I don't think that's the case.
no, no, no. That's why I was like,
uh, sharpening. Oh, crap. What's the word I'm thinking of? Um, oh, I'm totally at a loss. I think I have to give a minute for this because 30 seconds just doesn't seem very long.
yeah.
All right, what was it? Time's up, by the way. I just,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
30 seconds goes
Uh,
way so fast.
I was trying to break it up after there. Keep your eyes peeled. So I was trying to break
Oh,
up the peeling of a carrot or something, and I was like, maybe peeling a banana would be, but
okay. Oh man, these
that
are
is
these are tough,
difficult.
eh? Yeah.
I, I'm
Or I'm
I'm
just
I'm
really bad
starting to
at
think
it.
that I'm starting to think that charades is going to be a new party thing, because like this stuff is not easy.
No, right? Totally down. Okay. I think I'm ready to go here.
Running?
Oh, actually, I did that wrong.
Oh no. Huh.
Hmm.
2 words. 2 words, yeah? No? Two is part of this. Two, here.
And the time's up. I really need to figure out more than one charade to do. That was
We
two
are not
down,
good at
one to
this
go.
game, man. What was it?
Two down, one to go.
Two down, one. Ah, yeah. Again, when you say that, it's like, well, that makes perfect sense. All right. So you want me to try another one here?
Sure, we'll do one more. Right? Yeah, and JRC Stargazer had running on the spot. Yeah, so I mean, it's hard, man. Totally.
Okay, so
I'm gonna give you a minute for this one, just because 30 seconds just doesn't seem long enough. So
30 seconds is pretty hard. Okay, so it's my turn now. I'm gonna act this out.
yeah, you go for it, man. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay. I'm ready.
All right, down, uh, down, far, forward,
Uh,
down, under, take out. Oh, okay. Uh, in out. So in, okay. In, no, no, down. Was down right? Okay, down and then out. Down and out. Ah, finally got one.
we got one.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Down and out. Oh,
uh, I
no,
was
that
hoping that we would be able to get that one. I was like, come on, man. Like, I got to be able to act this one out.
I yeah. No, now I'm under the gun because you got one, I've got none. So hmm. Okay, I will give this a shot. All right.
Outbreak? Hmm.
Um,
Bye, I'm leaving. Interview's over.
yeah, we're done. Um, hmm.
Man, I don't. Oh, I'm not good.
All right, my minute's up. That was horrible for me. That is.
I'm not sure. What was it?
It was go for broke.
Go for broke. It's
I
okay. Like, that's not easy to do,
no no
though.
that one was
Go
that
for
was tough.
broke. Like,
All right, I think we're actually out of time. We actually went
all
the
right.
full hour here.
Nice.
So I would like to thank our viewers for coming back and
Thank you.
B participating. So I really appreciate that. If you do have any last second questions, go ahead, throw it up, and we'll answer that. If not, thanks again for watching. Thanks for Simon to coming on and playing with
Thank you
us.
for having me.
And yeah, I'm sure we'll be seeing you around. And if is there any place somebody can watch your program? Like, do you have a website or a Facebook page that people can go to kind of check things out and see what you're doing?
Yeah, I have an Everfit Strategies Facebook page. I also have Everfit Strategies YouTube channel, and I'm on Instagram, Everfit Strategies as well. And I will be starting up a Twitch channel. I've started it, I just haven't done any live streaming yet. But I will be starting up live streaming and things like that on Twitch as well. So through my Facebook page and everything, I'll be providing links and ways to find me on Twitch for workouts and stretching routines and things like that throughout the week.
Awesome. Again, thanks for joining us.
Thank
I
you.
don't see any other questions popping by, so I think we'll call it a day. Thanks again,
Awesome.
folks, for checking in and viewing and participating. That was great. And we'll see you actually next week for the next interview, which is with Spencer Strikert. So tune in for that. Thanks again, folks, and good night.
Yeah.
There we go.